Hi, everybody. Welcome back once again to Wanderer's Haven. I'm your host today, Kevin. Today, we're playing a special game that I'm very excited we finally get to showcase on the channel. We've had some technical difficulties in the past, so we've rescheduled it, but here it is for your enjoyment. Today, we are doing a special solo sagas. That's right, just me sharing the screen, sharing the afternoon with you, and we're playing a great game. So today we are playing from our friends over at Almost Bedtime Theater, the amazing game, The Librarian's Apprentice. As you can see, this is a newer game that's coming out. We've got some really, really good stuff here. And what the game concept basically is, it's a solo journaling storytelling game in which I will play a single character who's going to go on a journey today. The journey is going to be determined by drawing some cards out of a standard deck of playing cards, as well as rolling some dice, and we're going to formulate and structure a story together. So, yeah, let's just dive right in, shall we? It's nice, simple, easy, and we're going to learn together. So here we go. I want to, before we start off, say thank you to Almost Bedtime Theater for being patient with us getting it out here, and also for making such a fun game. Honestly, and all the prep for this, it's been a lot of fun. It's a really cool game. I'm really excited to play it today. So let's do that, shall we? First things first, as you'll see on screen here, what you're going to need for a journaling game, a solo storytelling game, is a place to do some journaling. Now, today we're doing this online, so I wouldn't typically have a nice, beautiful leather-backed tome that I can write in and really go into lots and lots of detail. So a lot of that we're going to just be doing through me verbally talking, kind of, giving you an idea what's happening with our character today, the Librarian's Apprentice. But what we'll also do is on the page that we have here, a little play space. I've got a couple of different spots on here. This I found online. I didn't make this, but whoever made this cool landing page, I appreciate it. It's on a free landing page site creator thing that I use from time to time. But we have some stuff here in case I need to make some notes, or I have to draw some pictures, or maybe even lay down some of our cards in results for future reference. So yeah, so like I said, we're gonna have a regular standard deck of playing cards. Typically, these are your typical. You can get them from Bicycle or whatever. But today we're gonna do all of that through. I'm using Roll20 as our interface VTT today, and it has a playing card thing that can implement right into that. So you'll see me click, and some dice will roll, some cards will pop up, and we'll do it right. First off, let's introduce our character today. Now, our character, you should keep in mind, is, like I said, he's going to be a solo adventurer today, but he is going to be having some fun. This character today is a character that actually our good friend and commander-in-chief of the channel, Jeremy, made on a recent Miniatures Monday that he has. This is Dewey. Now, Dewey is I'm not sure what the term would be, but I'm going to call him a deer folk today. As you can see, he is a humanoid deer type person, and he is the Librarian's Apprentice. Now, the Librarian is a mysterious figure of sorts. It depends on how the game wants to be structured. With the Librarian's Apprentice, you can actually have it be so that the game has multiple different origin stories for your character and the Librarian. You can have it be it's a single library. You can have it be there's a group of librarians. There's other things too that might be coming out when you back the project, other types of origins too. But today, I went ahead, I rolled all this up randomly. So today, the Librarian is actually one of two. There's always two. There's the Librarian and the Librarian's Apprentice. Dewey is the latest of a long line of this cycle of librarians who were once from Librarian's Apprentices, who rose through the ranks, proved themselves, and were able to take care of the Great Library. Now, the Great Library is a place of magic and wonder. It exists outside of time and space, and it is a place where the shifting halls and roaming walls can sometimes tell us a story all on their own, let alone once we start exploring it and finding out what there is to see. Now, today, the Librarian specifically has tasked us, the Librarian's Apprentice, Dewey in our case today, to actually venture out into the library. We need to find, there are 4 magical artifacts that we need to find that are dispersed throughout the library. They've been lost to time, lost to history, and we need to go ahead and go find them. We're going to explore this place by using the cards that are pulled from the deck of cards and forming a map of sorts, which we'll see on the screen here as we play. But first, let's go ahead and let's find out exactly who is Dewey. What does he like to do? So I've got a little bit of a character sheet popping up here right now. This is actually straight from, comes with the core book here. This actually is in the shape of a bookmark, which is an awesome touch that I really love. All of the look of this game is really, really cool like that. It's got a really like immersive like library. Once you complete the adventure, you get a custom library card that you can have too, which is really fun. Yeah, so Dewey is going to be his name, so that's pretty simple. So we kind of know, how we want to fill that out. Let me go ahead and we'll add it onto our character sheet here. This is going to be, let me move my papers here. Lots of fun papers. See, I'm old school, and because we're in an old library, we got to have all of our papers out and about doing stuff. And why is this not typing? Oh, got to turn the keyboard on, Kev. See, I'm so in the moment with the old books that I'm forgetting how to do the. Oh, you know what? Let me put that on the right. Put that on the right channel. No, not the right channel. The right layer, they call it here in Roll20. Now, Roll20 doesn't back us or anything like that. I'm just using it because it's a fun thing that I like to use. But it's free. It's if you want to use it online, just go to roll20.net. Yeah, here we go. Looks like I'm doing this for the first time, huh? Where's his name? I don't know. Jeremy, humble producer. Do we see his name today? Is it on the little bookmark? Yay, nay? I don't know. I don't see it. Let's try this. Anyway, his name is Dewey. We know this. He is going to be a he, him. Let's see. Is that working too? Do we see that? Let's see. I probably got this on the wrong layer. Wow, this is a great stream so far, Kev. Great job. That's right. We don't really need to do this. I just thought it'd be fun to have it be there for everybody to see. Objects and tokens should be right there. I don't see it though. Oh, you know what? You gotta click it like that, Kev. You gotta click it or tick it. That's what we say here in Michigan. It's probably other places too, right? Layer. Oh, there we go. Boom. Jeremy, you are a master. You were right. Problem is, I wasn't clicking on the right thing. So anyway, there's Dewey. He, him. He's going to start off, doesn't have any fatigue. Fatigue is kind of like, if you want to think about this in terms of other games, so fatigue would be like your hit points. This would be what it takes for you to kind of just be a little too tired to continue exploring today and have to resolve for the day and kind of take a rest and come back, maybe finish your journey tomorrow. So he's going to start, doesn't have any fatigue. He's ready to go. He's very up and excited. Resources are going to be collected during the course of the game. There are 3 skills that you use within the course of the game as well, as you can see here on the character sheet. There is navigation, which is going to be basically things that have to do with roles determining how well we move around the library, how good of an explorer we are, and exactly what it is that we are good at finding. Research is going to be a skill that allows us to determine how good we are at finding answers about the library and about the artifacts that we're seeking. And finally, lore is going to be what we already know, the history of the library, what it means, and what our purpose here might be. So for making a character, you're going to take each one of these 3. You're going to give yourself a +2 in one, a +1 in one, and a +0 in one. I feel like I really want Dewey to be, he's very studious. He's very good at what he does. So I actually want to go ahead, I want to give him his lore is going to be his best one. So his lore, we're going to go ahead and, let me do this. Click on the right thing again. I promise we're going to do this right. Get a 2 in lore. Perfect. And then he's going to have, let's have his navigation be a 1. I want him to also be, he is a go-getter. He is somebody who he has really been wanting to explore the library. He wants to know what else is out there. He wants to find his place here. So I went ahead and gave him a 1 in navigation. His research, therefore, is going to be a 2. I think he's going to be very studious, very knowing what he's doing, but I think maybe he's got a little bit of a flight of fancy. I feel like maybe Dewey is more excited about finding out what's out there rather than, taking his time with the books, as it were. I think that fits in with our message statement here at Wanderer's Haven. We want to be wanderers and we want to see what else is out there. And sometimes we forget some other things. So That's going to be his stats. Real simple and easy. Finally, it's dangerous to go alone, a wise man once told us. So we want to go ahead and take a familiar with us. Now, there are a couple of different types of familiars that we could have. A little companion that's going to ride around with us. As you can see here, there is the Catacoon, Glowmites, and a Tumblefluff. And I, to be honest, haven't even looked to see what these three things are. But of course, based on the names, we got to go with the Tumblefluff. I mean, that is just way too much fun. I think we have to go there. It's just going to be how it is. So, we got a Tumblefluff. Let me go ahead and put that. Oh, that didn't quite line up, but it's good enough. We all see what it is. What do we want to name this Tumblefluff? Do we have anybody in chat that wants to name our Tumblefluff companion, or does Jeremy want to do it? Shout it out to me out from the heavens, everybody. Broden. Okay. There he is. Broden and Dewey going to be having some fun. Now, you're going to see our familiar is going to actually give us a bonus to our rolling. One to navigation, one to research, or one to lore. Now, this is where you power gamers might want to have the research. That way you have a plus in everything. And you know what? Why not? Let's do it. We'll say that Broden has actually, when Dewey doesn't pay attention, Broden does for him. So he actually does a lot of the heavy lifting. I feel like the Tumblefluff, being a little creature that is actually going to be a library spirit. It's a ball of dust and library debris the size of Dewey's little finger. Now, Dewey has hooves, so that's right. We'll make it work. We know what we mean. Multiple spirits can temporarily emerge into humanoid forms as big as our hand when necessary, according to the rules here. So that is Broden. He is a little library puff, a little will-o'-the-wisp, as it were, that is made out of the dust from the library stacks. I love everything about that. So I think he lives in the books. I think maybe he actually is going to be someone who spends a lot more time doing the research than we do. And I feel like, therefore, that's what he's going to give us a bonus on. And just like that, we have a character made, we have a familiar made. Part of the backstory, I guess, has already been determined. Again, I rolled randomly that there is always one librarian, one apprentice. Dewey is trying to prove himself to become the librarian eventually down the road. Last little bit of bookkeeping before we dive into the story proper is let's determine the three truths about Dewey. Now, this, again, is the backstory of the character. The three truths are going to be determined upon kind of just where he fits into the world and kind of what he likes to do. I'm going to go ahead and move him down here so he is out of our way, because we're going to need our play space here in a second. We'll put him right here by the compass because he is on a journey and he has some heart, as we see there. So, his background, I'm going to roll a 1d6 and divide it by 2 because there's 3 major backgrounds I see here. 2, okay. So Dewey apparently found his way into the library and survived on his own in the stacks for a while. Now, what does this mean for Dewey? I like to think that because Dewey's species of what he is, he's a deer folk, I think that maybe what might happen is when Dewey was a child, perhaps there were some hunters that came into the forest that his family lived in. And the hunters, as far as he knows, and as far as he believes, the hunters killed off his family. He feels he's alone. He ran into the library for help, for safety, for sanctuary. And I feel like he survived there for a long time, kind of doing his own thing. It says the library can be dangerous, and something happened during those first few days to your character. What is that? Well, I feel like what happened was Dewey was lost. I feel like Dewey probably grew his life up in the forest, and being inside, it was a little different. There wasn't grass to munch, there weren't butterflies to chase, and little friends that perhaps were skunks to hang out with. And I feel like during those first few days, Dewey got very, very sad, and he didn't know exactly what his place would be. Dewey was worried about his family and what had happened to them and what would happen to him now that they're all gone. So I feel like in these days, Dewey just kind of got really morose, and he actually got lost in the library, I feel. I think that Dewey spent some time going around through the stacks trying to find out a way out, and he couldn't. I feel like once he was in he might have actually gotten, not locked in, that's a bit extreme, but he's in the library now. And what that might mean, we'll see. Maybe there's a grand purpose for him we're going to determine today. But I feel like he got lost, and during his time of getting lost, I feel like maybe that was when Broden showed himself to him. I feel like Dewey inadvertently maybe came across some of this dust in the library stacks, and he sneezed, and lo and behold, out came a little friend to introduce him. His little Jiminy Cricket, as it were, his little friend to guide him through the library and actually bring him to the librarian, who then kind of pseudo raised Dewey, kind of brought him up to make him a student, make him part of the library. Yeah, I mean, so that's where I see the beginning being. And I was just from rolling a die and kind of just using our storytelling skills. So again, that can be different. There's different backgrounds here. This is just in the kind of the core starter, I guess, we're running today. So there'll be more, I'm sure, but that's what we have today. So his community, again, this I already rolled. There's always a librarian and an apprentice. Basically, with the way I rolled, this was the one of the three things I rolled beforehand. The librarian is basically raised me. Dewey has been here, just him and the librarian. Well, I mean, plus Broden too, it would seem. But he's been here, and that's really all he knows. They don't have visitors. He doesn't know much of the outside world, other than perhaps that it's scary because his family was, as far as he can tell, eliminated by some hunters. So that's a little scary for him. But he's happy to be here. He's happy to be here with the librarian. Now, something, however, part of this same role is lately Dewey has been feeling like maybe there's something the librarian is not telling him. Maybe it's going to be some short answers about certain things. Maybe there's a wing of the library we're not allowed to go into. Maybe even the librarian doesn't talk about certain topics. But for whatever it is, there's been something that has tipped off Dewey that's made him feel like the librarian knows more than he's saying. And I think that maybe adds a little bit to Dewey's wanderlust. I think maybe he wants to know what it is that he doesn't know. He wants to find that out. And I think that'll be part of what we tell today. Finally, as we're exploring the library, let's find out a little bit about that library, shall we? The final truth is a truth about the library. Again, I'm going to roll. Okay. The library apparently is an ecosystem. The librarian helps keep that balanced. So this means that the library itself actually has seasons. It has changes that it goes through from time to time. And what does that mean for the library? What does that mean for us? I feel like the four seasons that we see outside, winter, spring, summer, fall, or autumn. I feel like the library has certain things that it changes in these time periods as well. I'm kind of picturing maybe the library during certain different times of the seasons. There's actually going to be different books that maybe shift themselves around, make their presences known. Perhaps during the summer, for example, there's a lot of books about sailing and being outside, tomes about nature, things that are going to be coming up and showing you what it's like during the spring. And as we roll into summer, maybe there's more stories about the heat and stories about games outside, adventures. As we roll into the autumn, maybe there's more spooky stories and cozy stories about, faraway lands, things that make you have comfort, make you feel like you're at home. And in the winter, I like to think, because, I like to add a little bit of some mystery to what's going on. I think perhaps in the winter, the library gets deathly still. I think there's times with the books, they go back up onto the stacks. They don't move for quite some time. And the winter is actually going to be a time when the library is a little bit spooky. There's times when it seems to be the shadows move on their own, or perhaps it's a little bit too cold down certain hallways. It just doesn't quite line up the way it used to. And I think during this time, maybe the winter is a little bit mischievous as well. So what season is your librarian assistant's favorite in the library? Well, I feel like with those descriptions, I feel like Dewey is a summer child. I feel like he wants to be finding out more. He wants to explore. He wants to see what's going on. But with the fact that he is so good at lore, I think even though summer is his favorite, I think he feels most at home in the fall, where he sits, he can research, he can know more about what's going on, and he can just learn about the ancient histories of different places and about different things. He's always gathering up little knowledges, almost like somebody would collect tchotchkes. He's trying to find out what all there is. And with that, I think our character is ready to journey. And let's do that. First things first, we are going to go ahead and we're going to start to build our library. So we're going to pick the first card of the game. This is going to be a queen. Now, we're going to go ahead. It says if you have a face card, you're going to redo that because you don't use the face cards, but because the face cards are where you're going to find the artifacts you're seeking. So we can't start off the game with an artifact as we start off in the librarian's office. Why is that not going away? Get out of here. There we go. So we'll put this in the discard pile. We'll make a discard pile right here, we'll say. I like it right there. Okay. Another card. Okay, here we go. We'll put this right here, right in the center of our play space. The 5 of Hearts. Again, our story today begins. Dewey is in the librarian's office. He's in the personal chambers of the librarian. The librarian has tasked him, as I mentioned, to go out and find 4 different artifacts that will complete his training, will make him part of the librarian stacks, and make him the librarian when the time comes. Basically, the path of the librarian's apprentice is a long one. Current task, like I said, is going to be testing our skills of traversing. So let's do that. As we traverse, first off, we're going to do is we're going to decide what sort of action we want to perform every turn as we build our story. We can basically perform an action by drawing cards, rolling dice, comparing them, and determining the structure of the library based on how those cards and dice fall. So we can travel, which is basically we can try to go to a new location and explore more of the library, because that's actually what's interesting. Because the librarian is shifting and moving at all times, there's not really a map. Dewey can't just go, oh, I'm going to go down here and go to this stack, because it doesn't really work that way. It is a shifting, moving, maybe even living library that can somehow shift with the times, kind of like with the seasons we've already talked about. So we're going to have to determine the cards as we play. So we can travel, try to find out more about that. We can conduct research, which is we can hunker down where we're at. We can try to look into the stacks nearby and find out more information about what it is we are dealing with. We can address a complication as it arises. This would be things ranging from, oh no, there's a problem with this section, or something happened, or maybe even in very rare instances, there is something that wishes to do us harm. And finally, we can ask a question. We can ask basically the elusive, otherworldly game master. We'll call them the librarian today. We can ask the librarian some questions about the world around us, and they can give us probable or possibly complete answers. So I want to go ahead. I think Dewey, like I said, he wants to explore. He wants to find out what's going on. So I think we should travel. So travel is going to be one of our actions. What we're going to do for all actions, we do the same thing. We are going to draw 2 cards from our deck. 1, 2. Oh my, a joker. What does a joker do? That sounds ominous. Oh, without jokers. You know what? Jokers aren't supposed to be in there. Thank you, Roll20, for not paying attention to me. That's right. We'll put the joker over here. We'll keep it. Though, that is a nice ominous beginning to our story, though, that the joker makes its presence known. I don't know about that. But so our 2 cards, you can see here, we've got a 9 and a 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll the dice, and we're going to add the sum of 2d6 or 6-sided dice. Now, typically I would do this right on the screen, but I'm just going to get the feel in my hand. We're doing a lot on the page here, and I like to have something tactile. So we're going to go ahead and roll 2d6, and the total is going to be a 6. So we're going to compare the sum of our 2 dice, which is 6, to the 2 cards, and that will determine what happens next. So first off, we're going to add our applicable skill bonuses or any other modifiers to the roll to determine its final score. Now, because we are exploring, we're traveling, therefore we are going to add Dewey's navigation. So get my so his navigation skill over here. So that's a 1. So our total, however, is going to be a 7. Compare it to the results of the face cards. Aces are worth 1. Face cards are worth 11. In this case, we have a 9 and a 10. So we're going to have, interpreting the results, if the score of our die roll is higher than both cards, that is a light effect or a positive effect. If it is going to be higher than just one card, that is a shadow effect, which means it's not entirely sure what might happen here. And finally, if the score is lower than both cards, as it is here, that's a darkness effect, which means there might be something bad that could potentially happen today. So, using travel, we used our navigation. Because it is dark, we are going to add either card to the map, discard the other, and discover a complication at the new locale that we arrive in. So, you know what? We drew the 9 first. Let's just go ahead and use that. So the 9 goes on to the map here. We started in the 5. The 9 is going to connect to it as part of the library. The 10, therefore, is going to be discarded over here with our queen. And therefore, now we are going to, in this area, because there is a complication, we have to roll what the complication might be. And again, we have volume 1 helps us determine things like making our character like we did. Volume 2 is going to help us determine what we do with the complications. So the complication for this section of the library that we just entered into is going to be, let's see here. I love having charts, having papers in front of me. I love it so much. It's so, like I said, so tactile. It feels like you're part of something. We're gonna roll 2d6. Get the clicky clackies going. Okay, 6. Oh, I see. The first one is gonna be a 4 through a 6, and the second one will be a 1. Okay, so that means we're going to interact with a nosiophage, which is a book licker, a withered husk of a person from the burned section of the library. Steals words and knowledge from documents by licking them. The content appears on their skin like tattoos. That's disturbing. So, yeah, we have a creature here, a nosiophage, which is here in the library. Apparently, they eat, they lick part of the books and steal the knowledge from them. So I feel like as Dewey sets out today, he enters into this section of the library, he finds one of these creatures. As we just read, it is a burnt out husk of a person. I think their gender is androgynous. We can't tell exactly who or what this person might have been. I think they're just humanoid shaped, a burned, kind of withered body. Nothing terrifying, mind you, because they're all around apparently, but something that definitely gives us pause. I think Dewey, when he sees this creature, he stops. I feel like he's only read about these creatures before, so he's never actually encountered one. So he definitely is a bit taken aback. I feel like right now he wants to just kind of take a moment to see what exactly happens. So I feel like for a moment he watches the creature, and it does, in fact, it goes to a bookshelf that is built into one of the walls here. It removes an older tome that has a withered look to the front of it, and it seems to actually wither a little bit more under the creature's touch. The cobwebs in the corners of the hall seem to stretch a little bit longer as the creature takes the book. And as it turns it over in its hands, it looks at it almost longingly and takes a nice long lick across the front. And the cover of the book has its title removed. There is a movement on the burnt body, and there looks to be a small little section of the skin that seems to come back as the words magically appear. Once Upon a Time is the name of this book, and this book will therefore be the first thing that we notice is part of our history here. So, I feel like Dewey's already got his work cut out for him. So let's see what he does here. So what we can do is, again, we're doing actions, so we can try to travel, we can try to conduct research, we can try to address a complication, or we can ask a question. I think Dewey, again, he's a bit interested. Let's have him address the complication. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean battle. This doesn't mean fighting. This doesn't mean being nasty to something. This just means Dewey wants to interact with the complication, which is this nosiophage, see exactly what it's up to. So again, we're going to draw 2d6. We're going to draw 2 cards. 2 cards. We got a 3 and a 6. Sure you guys can all see that on the page there. And again, we are going to roll 2d6 plus our lore, which is +2. I love that. Okay, that is a 9. We're going to compare it to both. A 9 is higher than 3, and it is higher than 6, so that is a light effect for the action here. light effect for a complication, which means we add both cards to the complication stack. Now, what this means is as we address complications, we actually have to pay cards to determine how good we are at resisting. So I'm going to put these down here. We'll make this our little complication stack. We've got a 3 and we've got a 6 that we can play. Okay, if the card that we add to the stack matches the suit of the card that the token is on. Oh, you know what? Let me do that real quick. You know what? I forgot to do that when I laid a new page here. Dewey actually, as he explores, has to, well, first he's got to show up. Let me do it this way. Copy. I'm going to paste him here. Boom. We'll lower him down a little bit. This is our token. This is where we are in the game. So Dewey is currently in this room here. Okay. And so that's a club. So we look at our cards. If adding to the stack, we added both of them. So they're both there. So we're looking at, we have a spade and we have a heart. So the stack doesn't match the suit of the card. So that's if we play it. So that's that. So we have to try to, when addressing a complication, we have to try to play cards that can equal the sum or the total of the room that we are in to determine what the effect might be as we move on. I believe, oh, my page is back in line here. Yes. Discover a complication, we roll the complications, which we did, determine what they encountered, then use the address the complication action to deal with it. That's what we're doing now. Narratively, this would mean attempting to avoid, fix, flee, or even help the thing, pacify, or otherwise overcome it. We should only use violence as a last resort, as the library is a place of peace and learning. So, of course, we want to do that. So we have that going on. So addressing the complication, yeah, we add both cards to the complication stack. Repeat this action until the number of cards in the complication stack is equal to or greater than the complication's difficulty. At that point, the complication is addressed and the complication stack is discarded. So what this means for us is we continue to address the complication until we basically are going to have the difficulty of the creature, which in Nauseophage is 6. So our stack has a 3 and a 6 in it. So therefore, we are going to overcome the Nauseophage by having these 2 cards already. So what happens, I think, is Dewey, when he actually steps forward, he says, excuse me, who are you? What are you doing here? And the Nauseophage, without a word, turns to Dewey, has a strange look in its eye, like maybe it recognizes something about Dewey, and then it turns and it just shambles down the hallway, and actually it gets to the end of the hallway and Dewey loses sight of it. It's like it just disappears at the end of the hallway. Dewey looks around. Well, that was a bit weird. He looks onto his shoulder. There is a small dust cloud that forms and matriculates into a small little man that's kind of, we'll say he kind of looks vaguely like the Pillsbury Doughboy with kind of a smoky, dusty look to him. He, instead of having a baker's hat, he's got a little puff on his head that looks like, a little cloud. And Broden just kind of shrugs. I don't think Broden's going to speak in this. I think he's just there to help us. And and then the tumble fluff is going to just through the air once more and land back in Dewey's pack. So Dewey looks around. He knows he's got to find the artifacts. He has to prove himself for the librarian, so he just takes a shrug. And he's going to continue on his way. So I think before we go, because I want to experience everything, let's do a little bit of research. Let's conduct some information. Let's see what Dewey might know about what is happening. So basically, he's going to roll for something useful in this area. It can happen. So he is going to, again, he's going to draw 2 cards. 1, 2. So we've got a 10. We've got a 7. I'm going to roll 2d6. Oh, wow. 12. Very cool. I'm actually using Gen Con dice that I got from Gen Con a couple years ago because, hey, it's Gen Con weekend. Why not? So Gen Con dice are going to show 2 6s. So we're going to have, that is higher than both of those. So once again, we have a light effect. So we're going to trade in both cards. And as we trade in both cards, we're going to trade in cards for information about the area. So we're going to take them both. We're going to put them in the discard. Boom. Boom. They're over here now. Oh, that's interesting. There we go. They're over here now. Let me do this so they're a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to roll plus research, which we did. And we're going to, excuse me real quick here while I get my papers. These are beautiful papers. No, they're actually much better. I've got one printed out flat, one in the nice folded up version the way they're supposed to be used. They're actually much easier to use like this, I'm finding, because you can just kind of hold it, love it, and nice design feature. But I do have these in front of me. So, cool. So it says we are going to, because we did that, trade in both cards. We can trade in cards, which would be from our hand that of our cards at, to learn more information. So we can basically trade in a club or a spade for a +1 to our resource pool, or a heart and a diamond to clear one of our fatigue that can be saved for later use. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and right now let's keep this heart. We're going to turn it in, quote unquote. We'll move it over to here, but we're going to save that for later to have our fatigue be okay. We'll turn in this 3, put it up here in the discard, and because of that we are going to gain 1 resource. So over here on resources, again, they have thought of everything. Resources are actually going to be on here too. Let's see, resources. Yeah. During your travels, you may discover resources. We can describe them or leave them abstract. You can also spend them at any time to gain bonuses within the game. So I think specifically what we find is Dewey kneels down and he picks up that book that Nosyophage was licking, the book that no longer has a title, but he did see the title on the Nosiophage's skin that said Once Upon a Time, and feels like it has a little bit of a power to it. It feels like there's something within that is going to help Dewey today. And with this book, he takes it, he puts it into his pack, and as he does so, he knows that the journey is just beginning, and maybe this book will be handy later. So let's go ahead. Let's keep on trucking. Let's explore again, shall we? Again, 2 cards. 1, 2. The aces are going to be 1, and the other cards will be, so this is a 1 and an 8. So rolling 2d6, and because we are doing exploring again, we're going to add our navigation. Wow, a 12 again. Holy cow. 12 plus 1 is going to be a 13, so that is higher than both of these cards. So again, we have a light effect. You know, I love these rolls right now. I'm glad that we're getting some positive stuff. Makes me worry about later. That's just my my karma thing, I guess, but it is what it is. So yeah, it is going to be a light reaction from the travel. You can add either card to the map and trade in the other. Well, that's very cool. Well, I want to go ahead. I want to put in a, let's put in the ace, shall we? And we'll trade in, whoops, I got stuff popping up on my screen. Sorry about that. And then we are going to trade in the 8. And trading in is just like we did a moment ago. We're going to trade in the 8 to gain, because it is a diamond. Where'd it go? I just had it. To clear 1 fatigue, can be saved for later use. So we'll turn it in here. I'll put it down here with the 6. So we've already got a chance to eliminate 2 fatigue as it comes up within the game. That's going to be pretty clutch, I feel like. Now, when you're placing new cards, this is demonstrating the library shifting and moving around us as we explore. Again, it's not a stationary map. It's not going to be this hallway leads to that room, which leads to this hallway. No, no, no. This is going to actually move and interact with us as we go. So because the ace is a 1, it is going to be lower than the room we are currently in, which is a 9. So what happens is something very interesting. It goes below it, like so. Oh, like so. Ladies out a little bit better. There we go. So what we have here is we have our original room, And then we have this room. Basically, the hallway that we're in here is going to shift and move. We turn back to look. Dewey looks back to turn to look towards the librarian's office. And what happens is he sees that the doorway that was there that he came out of, the doorway he's so used to seeing, that he's used to sitting behind and doing his research, it shifts and moves and flutters away. It almost looks like the book stacks on the walls rotate and move and spin to obscure it and eventually remove it. And what we actually find is that there is more hallway, and he looks back, he sees this other hallway, but he knows that the way forward is in fact to go straight ahead. So I want to go ahead and have Dewey do some more traveling. And again, we can do any one of the different things. We could ask questions, we could address the complication, there's no current complication, or we can conduct research. I think Dewey just wants to keep on going, though. He wants to find these artifacts, wants to find these items, figure out what's going on. So again, we're going to travel. 2 cards. And as you see here, we have a jack, we have a 2. Now, what's nice is that the traveling, when we get to a face card, that face card represents one of the 4 artifacts that we seek today. So already we found one, which is awesome news. However, it's not just there right for the picking. Let's find out what's going on in that room first, shall we? So first off, we want to roll off like we always do. The jack again is going to be an 11. The 2 is going to be a 2. So this is a 13 for these 2 cards. We're rolling 2d6 again. We're adding our navigation like we did before. Okay, so this is a 6 plus 1 for navigation. So right now we have a 7. That is going to be lower than one of the cards, higher than the other card for our result roll, which means that for traveling, it is going to be a shadow result, which means that we're going to add either card to the map and discard the other. Well, I think obviously we're going to keep the jack in there because I want one of these artifacts. So keep the jack. The 2 is going to get discarded. We'll put it over here in our discard pile with our other friends. And so now, just like we did before, you're going to place this card above the current room you're in if it is higher, below the current room you're in if it is lower. And so it's going to go up here. So now we are here, and Dewey is going to be, yeah, he disappeared. Let me get him back on here. I'll leave it a little bit bigger like that too. We understand what's going on. So Dewey, no, I'll do it like this actually. I'll move down a little bit here. I like the look of that a little bit better. Okay, and Dewey here is now in this room. He's going to find one of the artifacts. I want to go ahead. I want to find out what it is. I could just make it up, but I like using all these really cool charts and all these really cool tables that we have in the book here. So I'm going to roll a description. Description is going to be 2d6. And it's going to be a 4 and a 5. So this is the lost. That's the floor. Interesting. Lost eggs. Oh, so this first artifact that we find are the lost eggs of medicine. I feel like what these are is, I feel like long ago with the lore that Dewey knows about, there was a creature that lived outside of the library, but he knows, because he's got his best ability is lore, he knows that this creature is not one that's from the same forest where he's from. This creature is actually from a different location. He knows that this creature is actually a strange creature from some sort of distant other world that actually has medical properties. It actually is able to help heal the sick and help heal those who need help, bring solace to people who need mental healing as well. And I feel like these eggs that this thing had, it had birthed 2 different eggs, and these eggs have these properties as well. So I feel as Dewey comes into this room, what he finds is it is a stark white room. It doesn't look very inviting. It actually looks a little bit uneasy. But for some reason, Dewey knows that there is a serenity here, there was a calmness here, there was a certain level of Dewey knowing that he is welcome here, and he feels like its good properties are there to embolden him. And so he takes the 2 eggs, and as he does, he can feel that they are warm and kind and fresh. He takes them, he knows he has one of his moments that are done and ready for him, and he is actually going to go ahead, he's going to take those eggs and complete this part of his journey. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to write a little note here that we found the lost eggs of Medicine. Now, this was all just rolled off of a random rolling table here on the chart. Descriptions is what it's called in the thing. This could easily have been other things, but I just, again, I want to play with the fun that we have here. I feel like the company did a really good job with making some really cool stuff. I feel like its creator, Dan Bronson Lowe, has some really, really good ideas, and I want to use them all. I want to showcase everything today. So, notes: we have found the lost eggs of Medicine there in our notes. Now, we can't really lose our artifacts, so we have those. So that's pretty cool. I love that. I love everything about that. So cool. All right. Let's keep exploring. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So again, we are going to roll. Let me get back on the right layer here, not on a texting layer. Okay. 2 more cards. A 10 and a 4. Oh, I'm still in. There we go. I'm still in texting mode. 10 and a 4. Again, that's a 14. We're going to roll our navigation once more. 3 and a 1 is a 4, plus 1 for navigation is a 5. So again, this is going to be 1 better, 1 not as good, and so we're going to go ahead and have a shadow result. Shadow result for exploration means that we are going to, like we did before, we're going to add either card to the map, discard the other, and because I want to showcase how this works, let's go ahead and let's add this 4 to the map. We'll discard the 10 over here. Now, what this will do for us is on our map, again, the changing roaming library is going to be, we have to sort these things by where they set in the proper position. So this 4 is actually going to slide in. Whoop. I did that wrong. Let me do it like this. 4 is going to actually slide in between because it's lower than the jack room that we were in. I'm going to do this. I'm going to redo another one here because I like to have this guy on top. So we'll do it that way. Extra step for me, but who cares? And so yeah, so as you can see, the library is ever shifting, ever moving. Let me do it like this. Get it all back on the map here. And now we're in this room. Okay. Yes, indeed. So now that we have that going, we've discarded the other one, and we are continuing on the map. Let's get some more of the library scene. Now, again, there'd be more to this going on, I feel like, but we're trying to play, show you all the different aspects of the game. So I'm going to do some more travel again. 1, 2. Oh boy, we got another face card. Yeah. And an ace. Okay, so again, that's going to be a 12 because it's an 11 for the queen, a 1 for the ace. Ooh. 7 plus our navigation again is an 8. So once again, we have 1 higher, 1 lower. It's going to be shadow. I'm feeling lucky. We're gonna get this other card on here. Obviously, why get rid of a good thing? I'm gonna move this down a little bit. And you're going to be always shifting these cards. That's what makes this game really fun and interesting, is you're going to always be shifting and moving everything and having everything just kind of develop its own little unique way of showing what's going on. So again, because we are currently in this 4 room, the queen is higher. It's going to go here. So as you can see, all of the rooms are shifting and moving around as we play. This doesn't quite showcase this quite the right way, but I think you all get what's going on here. And now we are in this room here. We'll do it like that. Okay. And because we're finding another artifact, I want to add something a little bit fun. I think this room specifically has a little bit of a quirk to it. Again, I'm going to roll 2d6. You're always rolling 2d6 in this game, which is nice because you can play this game if you're not a role player, if you're somebody who likes Monopoly or Yahtzee or some other game that uses regular dice. The regular, 6-sided dice with little pips on them, as they call them. You could play this game. You don't necessarily have to have your, polyhedral set going, but you could if you want. 5. Oh, sorry, no. This is a this one and this one, so that's a 4 and a 1. Interestingly enough, this specific item is an item that can actually talk, and it only communicates in song based on the roll. So let's find out what this item is, shall we? Let's just get really kind of fun and crazy with this. Actually, I'm going to roll another thing. I'm going to roll a description for this room. This room is a room that is luminescent. Ooh. And Giggly. Okay, okay, I like where this is going. And exaggerative. Oh wow. So yeah, as I come into the room, I think Dewey's going to see that there is this artifact here, which I will roll while I'm describing. The artifact here is an artifact that basically is going to be oh, that's the wrong chart. Let me get on the right chart, you know. Let me get the right thing in front of me here. Okay, ooh, shifting. I like it is a shifting. That seems to work pretty good. Okay. This thing in here, this other thing that we have found is the all singing, all dancing, shifting skylights of riddles. I love it. So I think maybe it's gonna sing. It sings riddles to us. How fun is that? I feel like as Dewey comes into this room, which is a little bit giggly, there is the walls themselves seem to be. Yeah, let me type this in so I don't shifting. We said shifting scales of. What did I say? Where'd it go? What did I say, Jeremy? Yeah? I don't know. Let me roll again. I don't remember. Mystery. There we go. Shifting scales of mysteries. Mysteries are fun. Oh, let me type right. Shifting scales of mystery. Yeah, so I feel like when we get in here, the walls themselves seem to be made up of little creatures, little furry friends that are laughing and giggling and having really large, over the top, exaggerated effects with each other. I feel like they are singing and dancing. There is an unheard orchestra playing something in the background, and I feel like the shifting scales of mystery is actually not an item, but it's actually this. Porcelain statue of a woman. She's very beautiful. She is it's kind of done in that style of like the old Roman obelisk statues where it's got, you know, very alabaster skin, a beautiful toga that is covering everything, beautiful hair all upkept, and she sings a beautiful welcome and lets us know that we are welcome here in the shifting scales of mystery. I imagine shifting scales of mystery have a real, you know, doesn't fit the Roman thing, but it fits what I like. It's got this really big Aretha Franklin, larger than life, beautiful, voluptuous voice that just echoes through everything. All the little critters on the walls have backup, yeah, 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 stuff while she's singing. It's amazing. There's actually a lot of fun. It's a lot of singing. It's a lot of dancing, and everybody just has a fun thing. If this was like a Disney movie, this would be where the big, huge musical number is in. Everybody's singing, dancing. There's maybe there's a fountain that has waters that overcome each other. We'd sing and dance in the waters, stars that are out. It's almost like we're outside that twinkle and move. And it's just this beautiful, beautiful moment. And I feel like as we go to leave the room so that Dewey can take this artifact back to the librarian, it actually shrinks down to about the same size as Broden. And actually, Broden's going to dance with her, even though she's a statue to where she's actually, you know, on a base where she can't actually run around or anything. I think the way, again, because we're thinking like this is like a Disney movie kind of fun moment, I think Broden actually takes the statue, spins it on its base, the whole base spinning, and dances, gives her a little bit of a dip, and they have fun as he materializes into a small little dust cloud man, a little dust bunny that has energy through him as well. And all is fun and all is well. I love that. um, very fun, very fun. So, um, as we go to leave, let's roll another roll, shall we? Let's go ahead and do another exploration. See, now I feel like I have to sing the rest of this session today because we are with this beautiful artifact that sings. I love it. I love it. Okay, a 2 and a 9. Let's roll our 2d6. Again, we have 1 for navigation. So we're just building. We're building the story. We're building this place we're at. Okay, it's going to be 6 plus 1 is a 7. Again, higher than 1, lower than the other. So we'll add 1 to the map. Let me do this. There we go. Discard the other. So now with this, now we're on this 4 right here. Let's do this. Let's put him on the top. Now, if my son were here, he would say, of course, that instead of this beautiful, voluptuous woman singing in this statue, he would say that we just got Rick rolled. So maybe we have Rick Astley is out here singing that as well. I don't know. We'll see. My son's 10. He loves the Rick roll thing right now. But anyway, if you don't know it, look up Rick roll. It's great. It's fun stuff. You know what? We should have a Rick roll right now in the moment. Oh man, so much fun. See, this is why I play role-playing games, because you never know when you're going to be in an old, ancient, shifting library and get rickrolled. You know, you just never know when the fun is going to happen here on Wanderer's Haven, so that's what we do. Alrighty, so yeah, so here in the hallway, we had a good result. We're still there. I want to just do, let's do a, what haven't we done of our skills? You know what, let's ask some questions. We haven't done that yet. Let's ask some questions about the library, about what's going on, because I want to, show off all the different actions here. So whenever I, the player, want an answer to a yes or no question not covered by other actions, roll a +2 if the answer is likely, yes, +0 if it is unlikely, otherwise roll a +1. I'm going to ask a real simple basic question. Simple basic question is, am I going the right way? So like all things, we are going to draw two cards. Yes, draw 2 cards. Everything is drawing the 2 cards and the 2 dice. 4 and a 6, that's a 10. Rolling. I think it's likely we're going the right way, so that's going to be a +2. Plus, we're asking questions. That's going to be lore. So, oh no, it doesn't have a 1. I'm sorry. Lore is for complications. So we're just doing the +2. So 7 + 2 is a 9. That's higher than both. Light. So that means the answer is going to be yes. And we discard both cards. So again, I think Dewey, he looks to his books, he looks to his little card catalog he has in his little fanny pack, and he is going to find out that he is in fact going the right way. And he's very happy about that as the statue continues to sing, yeah, 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 in his backpack, the little Broden dancing and bopping around. I think we're all happy, we're all having a good time. Continue to explore. I'm going to move these cards over here so we can see a little bit better. Oh, baby. We are just popping right along. I love this. A king and a 3. All right, so let's go ahead and let's roll for the result. Again, because we were exploring, traveling, this is going to be a plus navigation, which means we have a +1. Oh boy. Okay, that's going to be the first 1, and 2 is a 3, +1 is a 4. Okay, that is higher than 1. Okay, I was worried for a second there. If I was going to be a dark effect, because that'd be fun. However, this is just shadow. Add either card to the map, discard the other. I mean, clearly, gang, we gotta do the king, right? I mean, no, you know what? Let's get rid of the king. No, I'm just teasing. Yeah, let's keep the king on there. I'm going to do this. I know this isn't quite the aesthetic that we're going for this game, but I feel like it's going to make these cards look a little bit better if I do it this way. That way we can see everything. Okay. I'm going to have Dewey step aside for a moment. Get out of here, Dewey. What you doing? Copy. Don't worry, I'm not going to make Dewey sound like Arnold. That would be... Maybe the Librarian does. Maybe the Librarian is a big Austrian bodybuilder governor. That'd be kind of fun. Come on, you got to do your research here. No? Yeah, I'm not feeling that either. But the king, because it is higher than the 4 that we were in, again, we're going to shift all these, so... Shifting. Now, you'll see this is kind of going in a straight line. This isn't actually typical. What usually happens is if we... pull out a card that is actually going to be the same as the card that we are currently on, it is going to go beside it, and we start to build out the world, different multiple directions. It's just the luck of the draw. We're doing a straight line. Maybe this is like a library. The big massive library here is like a elementary school here in the US. It's just a long, thin structure so far anyway. But we have to determine what exactly we are finding in here. Okay. Whoop. You know what? I thought it was kind of funny with the quirks. Oh, you know what? No, quirks are more for a person, an NPC, maybe even the librarian. You can maybe even have it be the quirks are used for your character. So I won't roll that. We will just roll that what the item itself is going to be. And again, I'm loosely adapting this. We could just determine what the item is if we wanted to. Oh, bone. Okay. Ooh, I like this. So this artifact are the bone hourglasses of meteorology. What does that do for us? Well, let's think. I think this um bone, what I said, bone hourglasses of meteorology. Okay. Whoops, that's not the right button. So I think what these items are is they are we had the twin eggs from before. We have the lady who carries the scales, and she's the shifting scales of mystery. I feel like the bone hourglasses of meteorology are actually a small little collection of hourglasses that all sit on a long wooden stand. The stand has small little circular indentations that all of the hourglasses can sit upon. And I feel like what happens is almost like a barometer. I feel like the hourglasses shift and spin and move. The sand inside actually plays a song, a little bit of a sound as they move and spin. And as they move and spin, it actually helps dictate, again, like a barometer. It helps showcase what exactly is going to happen here within the library. And I feel like, because it'd be really exciting. I feel like what happens is as we pick them up, as Dewey notices them, I feel like they begin to spin and shift and move. And I feel like the season of the library actually begins to change. I feel like these artifacts being these power as well. I feel like let's roll. We started off in ignore fives or sixes. Four. We started off today's adventure in the fall, and so I feel like now, as the season shifts, it's actually going to be. We see that there is a shift in the air. The air gets a little bit more crisp, a little bit lighter. There is some light that begins to stream in from unseen windows, and I feel like as we stand here looking at the hourglasses, as they move and shift, the little bones clinking and clanking on each other, they're going to actually reveal the spring that erupts throughout the library. As we are walking down the hallways, trying to continue our journey, we're going to see that around us there are books that begin to slide off of the shelves and float through the air, flutter like butterflies, or move like birds from one shelf to another. They actually have song that sounds like bird song with their pages as they ruffle. There's actually a little bit of motes of light that stream and trickle around us as well. The ground actually inside here too gets softer, gets a little bit more enticing. And as we continue, Dewey just feels that newness, that freshness. He feels like he's really on the next stages of his journey. He really feels like this is going to be a really great, amazing next step here. So let's roll to explore. I think we're making good time. We have one artifact left. I think we're just going to keep on going. I don't think there's need to take a break or anything. Let's just power on through and kind of play. Otherwise, this would be a good place to stop because I don't know how much longer it's going to be. We could get it right now. We could get it 10 draws from now. We'll see how we feel. But anyway, let's draw. 1, 2. Oh my goodness, what I just said. We could just get it right now. It's another queen. So that is going to be, yeah, I mean, obviously we want to keep that, but let's see what happens first. Let's roll. Okay, we were exploring, so we are going to, we're going to use our navigation, which is a +1. However, I don't think 2 1s are going to help too much. So we have a 1, and a +1, which is going to be a 3. 3 is lower than both of these cards. So we have our first dark result. We add either card to the map, discard the other. However, a complication is at the new location and affects your results. Well, I feel like we got to put the queen in there because why not? This is it. We get to the last artifact. Move her in again because she's lower than the king. She goes down below here, and lower I mean through the card values, not because queens are lower than kings. Trust me. We're all purpose here at Wanderer's Haven. So we put the queen here. That is the room that Dewey is going to be in. We're going to paste him back on. There he is. Hello, Queenie. And as Dewey is on the room, Rodin on his shoulder, we have to address a complication. I love to roll for complications because complications are so much fun. So again, 2d6. This is a chart. There's a ones column, a tens column. Okay, so I rolled 2 ones for the result here. However, what I roll for the complication of the room is 2 6s. Now, on the chart, this means that we have come across the thing below. Now, we have not talked about the thing below so far. It is part of the lore of the Great Library that we have kept secret until now. However, here we are discovering it for your enjoyment today. The thing below is a creature, an unseen creature that exists within the library. The thing below is a mysterious, strange, scary entity that exists outside of our common knowledge. The thing below exists below the library, and when it makes its presence known, it is to great detriment and scary effect. The thing below specifically is a thing. Let me read this actual description because this is juicy. The thing below burrows beneath the library, rips open the floor, and consumes anything that falls into the hole it creates. It will haphazardly fix the floor afterward, leaving behind a polite note listing what it ate. I'm going to roll 2d6 real quick. Okay, so the thing below comes out. It is a difficulty complication of 10. That's as hard as it gets, guys. That's as hard as it gets. Now, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to have to use cards to determine if we are going to outcome this. So, again, this game is not your typical role-playing game where you're going to fight. I'm not going to fight and kill the thing below. It doesn't work that way. We're going to try to best it. We're going to try to get out of the way, maybe even escape. I feel like right now, Dewey has 3 of the different artifacts. I feel like the 4th one is right there. I don't think he's just going to run. I think he wants to try to get that last artifact. So that's how we're going to interact with the complication. So we're going to roll to interact with the complication, which means, like we did before, we are going to go ahead and we're going to draw 2 cards. A jack and a king. Oh, interesting. Here's all the face cards for us. Okay. So those are both going to be 11. 2d6. Because we are going to do the address a complication roll, we're going to add our lore, which luckily for Dewey is his best one. He's a problem solver, so that means he gets a +2. But I gotta beat 2 11s. A 6 and a 5. So I got an 11 +2, 13. So my result is higher than both of those, so which means that's a light effect. Add both of our cards to the complication stack, which is down here. Boom. So we have those in order to defeat the thing below. Now, the thing below, however, takes 10, so we have to keep on struggling. So I think if we want to cinematically describe what happens here for our story, I think Dewey, he goes to surge forward to try to grab the final artifact that he needs. He tries to grab onto the last artifact. As he reaches for it, let's see what it is exactly first. We didn't roll for that yet. 2 5s. Ooh. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to roll. Let's do it this way. Let's have the last artifact be determined by whoever's in chat, or maybe even Jeremy if he wants to pop in. What is this last artifact? What is this last thing that we need to get, we need to find, we need to get back to the librarian and to prove our worth? This thing that is guarded by the thing below. What do we think? The Sword of Destiny? I love it. The Sword of Destiny. Is that kind of like the Pick of Destiny? It might be. Here we have the Hourglass Lady, or the Shifting Scales Lady. The Sword of Destiny. I love this. All right, these are the 4 artifacts. So I don't have the Sword of Destiny yet. All right, so Dewey, he moves forward. There is a sword that actually would be in a stone, but I think the stone in this library is going to be, this is like a stack of books that this sword is embedded in. This sword actually looks like not a sword that you would fight with. Oh no, this is a sword that actually looks like it is ceremonial. It has a very beautiful metal sheen to it. Its handle is wrapped with a very beautiful leather. The pommel seems to have a leaf motif, and it seems to call to Dewey in this moment as he reaches for it. But as he does, the thing below is going to ripple the floor as part of itself is revealed. The thing below, I don't think can fully be seen. I don't think it can fully be heard. It just can be known that it's there. So as it moves, as the floor shifts and moves and pops, there are planks that sprout and shoot around us as Dewey surges forward. But in that moment, he has to roll out of the way to not be hit. Broden, I think, actually starts to slip and slide off of his shoulder, but luckily he can fly, being a tumble fluff. He flies through the air. He flits around Dewey's head. He runs across the antlers upon Dewey's head, floats into the air, and as he does, he runs forward, surges, and he grabs the statue of the shifting scales of mystery, pulls her close, and she gives him a nice smile, and the two of them flutter and land on a nearby bookshelf. As that happens, two more cards. We're going to continue to address the complication because we have to until we either get away or something really bad and drastic happens. So again, we have two cards. The two cards are a 7 and a queen. That means it's going to be rolling 2d6 plus our lore, which luckily this is our highest, so way to go. Us. Okay, that's another 11 plus 2. It's another 13, which is higher than both of these. They are both going to go into our pile down here. That is 4 out of the 10 we need to defeat the thing below. I'm getting a little excited. The thing below, again, it shifts and moves, and what it does is there are things on shelves around us. Maybe there's a sphere that it looks like a globe, but that has actually, as you look at it, it looks like it is shifting and moving too. It's a globe, a sphere that's depicting several different worlds, not just one. And that slides, boom, 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 rolls down and disappears into the hole. The thing below has a crunching and munching sound as it disappears. Dewey gets up to his feet, and as he does, he moves across the room. He jumps, and there are some books that fall and start sliding in down towards the hole in the ground, and he runs across them with his deer-like speed, moving closer to the sword. We're drawing again. Put these a little bit higher so we can see them a little bit. A 2 and a jack. Rolling again. Again, it's a +2 because of the lore. That's a 7 plus 2 is a 9. That's going to be higher than 1. Lower than the other. So as we address a complication, we add either card to the complication stack, discard the other card, and we're going to take 1 fatigue. Oh no. Just because I like face cards, we'll put the jack down here. We'll get rid of this 2. Okay. So what happens is as Dewey runs and as he jumps, there's another stack of books that flying off of the shelf that he just jumped past. One of them hits him right in the hip. Ugh! And Dewey spins and he tumbles across the floor. He's going to take 1 fatigue. Let me go ahead and put a fatigue here. Oh, okay, that's close enough to the little box. I think you guys can all see what we're doing here. Yes, so he takes a fatigue as he hits into the ground real hard. The thing below almost has a ho 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 Jabba the Hutt kind of laugh from below as the room starts to shake a little bit. The sword and all of the books is the only thing in the room that's not moving. It's stationary. I think Broden with the statue friend, they start to move. The statue can't really move because it's on a base. So Broden grabs a hold of her, starts to fly up into the air. She's a little heavy, but he's going to kind of keep pushing, and he's going to kind of go, and they're going to start to make their way closer. But between them and between Dewey, the chasm in the floor with the great thing below, and the thing below starts to, and stuff starts to fall and continue to slide and slink down towards that hole, including Broden and the scales. So Dewey, oh boy, he's going to go ahead. Now, what we could do, because we have 1 fatigue, we could use these cards that we gained earlier, that we have, these cards that we used to negate the fatigue. That would be an action to do that. Or we could continue to try to conduct additional, pardon me, forgive me for the words, where we can use, we could try to overcome the complications still. I think in this moment we are going to go ahead and do that. Now, I will note, first thing, that luckily, because we have this jack, I noticed just now it is a diamond. The room that we were in is a diamond as well, which means this specific card, this jack, is going to equal 2 cards. So now our complication stack is jack, king, 7, queen, jack, which means it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we only need 4 more cards to defeat this complication, save our friends, and get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and not worry about that 1 fatigue right now. I think we're just going to keep on going. Dewey he's striving. He wants to go. The other artifacts are jumbling around in his backpack. The Sword of Destiny starts to sparkle and shine. There is a light from above it that starts to stream down, illuminating it, calling to Dewey. So he wants to keep on pushing. A 3 and a 5. Who knew such an exploration through a library would be so crazy, huh? All right. 6 and a 3. That's a 9 plus 2 for my lore. Now, I'm really glad we took 2 for lore for Dewey to make him better at doing this kind of thing. This could be scarier if he had a 0 here. So, that is going to be 6 plus 2 is 8, which is higher than both of those. It is going to be a light effect, which again, add both cards to the complication stack. This 3 is going to count as 2 then, because it's still a diamond. Whoops, put the 3 first. So down here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We need 1 more card to defeat this. Not necessarily defeat, to overcome this challenge and get back to the librarian with our items. So in this moment, Dewey, he sees his friends falling, he sees the sword, and he knows he could reach right out and grab it. He's standing right next to it. And as he starts to reach, he takes a deep breath. He turns and he gallops and he leaps directly over the thing below. That hole starts to widen. The planks of the wood below are continuing to pop and snap and move, and he lands just barely on the other side, right next to his 2 friends. He snatches up the statue with the shifting scales of mystery, snatches her up out of the air, and holds onto her tight. And as he does, Broden flits about his head, lands on his shoulder, just gives him a nod as the 2 of them share, and they know they have to go find the sword. The rest of the stuff on the wall is all peeling and pulling off the wall. Even the wallpaper in here, all of the books on all of the walls are coming. The thing below is hungry today, and it knows that it can get that artifact if it tries just a little bit harder. But Dewey has to find his way back. So again, let's address this, shall we? Okay, so we're out of cards down here. Yeah, we added cards already. I want to cancel that. Hang on a second. I don't know if that's going to shuffle the deck. I'm not sure that's going to take away all the stuff we have sitting up. I hope not. You know what I'm going to do? I don't want to risk that. I'm going to get some actual cards. That doesn't really, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do it because I don't want to risk what we got going here. I found my cards. So in this time, yeah, if you want to find out how you can get a hold of the Librarian's Apprentice, you can find it on itch.io, and it is over there. Like I said, it is created by game designer Dan Bronson Lowe. I'm not sure if this is his first game or not, but you can find him at bronsonlowe.itch.io, and you can find the game. Here's my cards here. Now, this isn't exactly 100% the way the game is supposed to go, because you're supposed to use the same deck of cards, obviously. And with me getting a whole regular deck of cards, this kind of affects the results a little bit. But you know what? I think we're close to the end right now anyway. I just want to continue. I don't want to risk all of this on the map going away, the complication stack going away if I hit shuffle, just because I'm not sure what happens with that on Roll20. I assume they're all going to stay, but I don't want to risk it. We'll find out after what happens. So what I want to do is I'm going to give these a quick shuffle. Little ASMR for you guys here. Yeah, but if you like this game, though, it is based on the works of Firelights, which is a role-playing game that is created by Farl RPGs, which can be found at... Oops. Okay. Alrighty. It has some other things built in too, like some stuff from the Ironsworn setting, Dungeon World, different things like that. But I'm loving it. I think this is a really fun game. I was very surprised that we have encountered so many of the artifacts right in a big row like this. But I think it's been great. All right, so let's see. Drawing 2 cards. Jack, 10. I'm not going to cheat. I'll show you what we're rolling. Okay. Here we go. Jack and a 10. Now, these are both really good cards, but they're really high, too. So, again, we're rolling lore. Okay. 2 and a 6. No funny business going on over here. 2 and a 6, that's going to be an 8 plus 2 is a 9. So that's going to be lower than both of these. Oh, no. It's another dark result. So let's see what happens. Dark result for addressing the complication. Discard both cards, and again, mark 1 fatigue. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's getting bad, guys. Get another fatigue going here. And I think as Dewey nods to his friends, he begins to jump across. I feel like there is something with the thing below that actually begins to pull at him and threaten to drag him down as well. I feel like what happens is Dewey, in this moment, his leg gets wrapped with some sort of strange black tentacle that comes up out of the thing below and tries to pull him down. I think what he's going to do is, as he does this, he takes the fatigue, but he does slam onto the other side, knocks the wind out of him for a second, and he has to continue. He has to find, he's right there next to the sword. He's going to reach for it. And as he does so, let's address the complication once more. King, 4. Now, if we beat this one, this will count as 2, but we only need 1 still because we have 9 in our complication pool right now, our complication deck right now, excuse me. So let's see, let's roll. 2d6, baby. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 2 is 9. 9 is higher than 1, lower than the other. This is a shadow result as usual. Add either card to the complication stack. Let's use that 4 because it's 2 points. Why not? And discard the other, so we'll get rid of that king. So we have a 4 down here. So we have all 10 things that we need to defeat the complication. We do take 1 more fatigue. I'm going to turn in one of our 2 cards to negate that. So instead, we are just left at the 2 fatigue. So Dewey, tired, battered, he reaches up, he grabs a hold of the sword, and as he pulls it free, the entire lower part of it where the sword blade would be is not there. It is just something that, again, it's ceremonial. It's part of the book stand. And as he pulls the sword, he turns to face the thing below. All of the books that the sword was standing on, this pedestal made out of books that it was upon, begin to flutter, open up, move, dart about the room. And as it does so, there's a bunch of different words that begin to peel off the page, move around, they intermingle. Things that, like, the hero stood true. Things like the wind howled. Things like the thing below was angry. Things like the librarian had a quest. These words mingle in amongst ourselves. They swing in around and they form into a barrier that blasts back against the thing below. The thing below shrieks, some sort of deep guttural shriek, not of pain, but just of, ugh, I lost today. And it shrivels down into the floor. As it does, the planks warp and shift and bend and move around each other. Some sort of strange interlocking like crooked teeth all in together, and the floor is resealed. And Dewey stands there. That light that we mentioned was on the sword comes down around him as the books swirl about him. He feels a little different. He feels a little stronger, a little smarter. And these books, as they continue to swirl and flow, they all in a stack line up and land at his feet. And he looks, his small little companion Broden flitters about and lands on the books, looks up at him, does a dance. You know, they're excited. They have a moment, and Dewey, in this moment, he feels accomplished. He feels great. He is going to take the books back to the librarian's main study, which is that original room we started on, that 5. And as he does so, he's going to find that the librarian is not there when he returns. Instead, there is a note that depicts that Dewey, your learning is done. You have found your way, and you have made us all proud. The library is now yours. Whatever mysteries that you may seek are out there in the stacks, and you will find them now as the new librarian. And with that, the books out and about, they do have a welcoming look. Dewey takes the sword of destiny, he places it upon the table. Now a little bit of a letter opener that he's going to keep for the letters from the old librarian that come from time to time. And he's actually going to, because he's so fatigued, before he sets out on a further journey to discover the answers about himself through the power of knowledge, through the power of books, he's just going to take a moment. He's going to enjoy one of those books. He takes up an old battered tome. He opens it, and as he opens it, we see it doesn't have a title, but he knows the words well enough, the first words of the book, as he begins to read. Once upon a time. And with that, our tale today will come to a close. This was The Librarian's Apprentice, a very quick run-through playthrough of the game. I had an absolute blast playing this. This was so much fun. I'm curious real quick, those of us watching the screen, let's hit shuffle and see what happens with the cards. Okay, so cool. It didn't take away all the other stuff, but it did shuffle the cards that were left over. That's good to know. Now I know that. That's good to know. But yeah, I didn't want to risk losing all these cool things on here. But yeah, this was amazing. You could do it on Roll20 with a VTT like this. You can use just a regular set of playing cards, which would, I think, probably typically how this would be played on a table, coffee table, spacing them out. If you want to get a copy of The Librarian's Apprentice, it is available on itch.io, as I mentioned. It is going to be a downloadable, printable game, such as this right now. It's also a way that you can get it where they actually have a print version that is coming as well down the road. But if you want to get into it right now, you can get what we have here and really see it by backing it and seeing what's going on. But yeah, please go ahead and follow the game's designer, Dan Bronson Lowe, who is found, as I mentioned before, at I'm going to get the right link. Bronson Lowe, BRONSONLOWE.itch.io. So bronsonlowe.itch.io. Creator of the game, edited by Christina Bronson Lowe. I'm not sure if that's his wife, sister, friend. I'm not sure. But great job with this game, everybody. I had so much fun. Dewey was amazing. I thank Jeremy for creating him on Miniatures Monday a few weeks ago. This is a lot of fun. Today I was using my Cool Fun Gen Con dice in memory of the fact that it's Gen Con weekend. But if you want some really amazing, awesome dice out there, you can go to one of our 2 friends that make dice. You can go to Fan Roll Dice, which is we have an affiliation with. You can get special custom awesome dice. You can buy their mystery packs, which are just random dice thrown into a bag. Or you can get some of their cool sets, like this really cool set that I have here, which are metal. I put them in there for safekeeping. Or you can go to our friend Cardi Steichen, who is over at Armadillo Dice. She will send you some custom-made dice in a really awesome little bag like this. These are beautiful. I just recently did an unboxing video for these dice, but I will show them off again because I love them. Something else I do is I run a game set in a world where there's meteors that fall from the sky all the time. So I asked her to make meteor dice. And so as you can see, she made these beautiful, I'm hoping they're catching the light of my ring light. These beautiful, beautiful dice with these really cool flecks in them. Jeremy has an unboxing video as well with his. I know Miko does as well too. They're stunning. They're beautiful. We love them, and they roll amazing. I have rolled the very first time I rolled the dice right out of opening them, it was an at 20. So that's got to be a great omen, right? But she's very cool. You can find her over on Etsy. There is a link also on our page that you see floating around in just a moment here. Finally, I want to say cool thank you to Epidemic Sound, who provided the music today while I was stumbling my way through this beautiful game that did a much better job than me. Also, we have some great stuff coming up. If you liked what you saw here, we have other solo sagas coming up as well. We will announce those pretty soon. We're not sure what the exact scheduling will be on those, but we will be doing more of them. Some will be with me, some will be with Jeremy. There's even one that Miko and Beth are talking about, so we can all get in on the fun. I do know that I have some that are more like this, a storytelling type game that we're going to be doing very soon. And also, I have an idea for one that uses a different product for a long-term uh, writing exercise, be a multi-part thing, but we will do all of that down the road. Again, if you enjoyed what you did here, if you're not a follower on the channel already, give us a follow. That's free. You can just kind of hang at a time. If you want to subscribe, we like that too. If you want to support us, we have a coffee. We have different links that way. I have a coffee as well. Kevin, I can be found online at the socials at KevRan Games. I am one of the members of the production team here, along with Jeremy, founder of the channel, as well as Beth and Miko. And if you want to see more action that we have coming up soon, every Wednesday, Miko runs his very own homebrewed 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons setting of Easterra, which is a really cool setting that is a world that's on a verge of change, a little bit of some magical technology built in as well. Very, very cool. It's all homebrewed. He does a great job with that. We've got some previous episodes found on our YouTube. Again, if you want to play the Librarian's Apprentice yourself, all you're going to need is some cards, some dice, which you can have in most games, or you can, do it online with a VTT like I did. Please follow Dan Bronson Lowe over on his itch.io, and please, take a time today in today's busy world to sit down, read a book, lose yourself in a story in a distant land that exists on the page, because we don't find enough time to do that anymore. So again, thank you all so very much. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to hang out with me today and to watch Dewey's story unfold. Before we go, let's go ahead and raid one of our friends. Jeremy in the ether, who are we raiding today that I can announce today? So many friends out and about. I see you're talking, Jeremy. I do not hear you, Jeremy. Jeremy's a man of mystery. Odds are he won't live to see tomorrow. No, that's not true. That's a song. I was tree. Jeremy, I don't hear you. Can you just want to type it in for me? Is it on? Is it? Maybe it's in chat on the Twitch page. I don't have that open. Word. I don't know. I'm sure we're rating somebody, but this was beautiful. Thank you all so very much for your time today. I appreciate you. Until next time, like I said, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time, okay? At the Wanderer's Haven.